All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, first-class fans, first-class fanatics, all of you out there, you love movie trivia, and we're bringing you all the news that's fit to print or, hey, put on YouTube, put on a podcast, why the hell not, about the FCL. I'm joined, as always, by some wonderful gentlemen, my co-hosts, Keith Kilduff, Ryan Permison, joining me on the show, but I'm very excited as well to bring to all of you, the fans of the First Class League, an exclusive at This Week in the FCL, as we are joined by a very special guest today. Let's bring him on in and say hello. He is the Dark Knight of the FCL himself. It is Jon Knight, coming in hot with his first match this week. Jon, welcome to This Week in the FCL.
Well, thank you, and you're welcome for, being a part of such an amazing Brady Bunch you have here. But it's good to be here. It's good to have my voice heard, and I can't wait to see what you boys have in store. Just stay on my good side. You're right.
We will do our very level best, Mr. Knight. We have a lot of questions for you, of course, but before we get into those questions, why don't we get right to the heart of the matter and start things off by telling you about exactly what the show is about, what happened this week in the FCL, as we go to our match breakdowns, starting off with the match that one Mr. Knight himself was involved in. For that, we're going to take it over to our buddy Keith. Keith, what do you got for us today?
Week 3 FCL is in the books. This man down here was part of it. Jon Knight, Nick Harley. Jon, can I ask, before we actually get into the match itself, what were your initial thoughts on Harley? Had you looked into him much? Could you find much info on? Or did you just look at our last show and pick up a few bits there?
I don't give a damn about Harley. Quite frankly, I don't give a damn about anybody that's in this league. Like I said, I got one job. That's it. Make way to the top, the so-called Schmoedown. Whatever's going on in this whole organization, running amok, I was sent to take it down. That's my one care. All these other pieces and peasants and pawns that you want that are in my way, it's just an annoyance. So I didn't care about Harley. But as you saw, he proved himself a little bit more formidable. I took a defeat by my own hands. And that's something I'm going to have to live with. That's something I'll go back to the drawing board and have already. But in terms of Nick, listen, I don't need that bargain bin Chris Stuckman thinking he did anything crazy, did anything great. He didn't do a damn thing. He won because I allowed him to. And that's as far as it goes.
I'm very, very interested in kind of breaking down that last sentence because I have a few thoughts on how he did win, but we'll get there. So let's talk about round 1. You perform unbelievable. You're up 7-6. Harley misses the second question in the category of directors, which is how many films has Richard Donner directed in the Lethal Weapon franchise? Ryan, did you know the answer to this straight off the bat?
Actually, it's funny you say this because I've been watching some of the Lethal Weapon movies because I've missed a few things when I was a little itty bitty youngling. So trying to do my due diligence. So I've seen the first one, then I watched the second one, then I watched the third one. And I'm like, yeah, I know there's a fourth one, but yeah, I knew right off the bat there that what is it? Richard Donner directed all 4. Yeah, but I guess in the FCL sort of way, they were trying to trick you with that. I don't know.
That's the kind of question that you get sometimes in one of these matches. I've seen it before, both watching the Schmoedown, working myself in the movie Trivia Face-Off. There's some questions they're just trying to slip you up. So they throw it seems like a softball, or it seems like the way they asked it means you have to answer a certain way, and they're just trying to trick you. Bit of dirty pool from the question writers. And yeah, four films by Richard Donner. I would have known that, but to be fair, I'm an old guy. I grew up with those.
You aren't old at all, Andrew. Give yourself a break. So that's obviously giving you the leg up in this round so far. And then you slip up ever so slightly. Movie release dates, Hangover, Cars, Kung Fu Panda sequels. 2011's the day. 2014's what comes out of your mouth. Where were you getting that from?
Oh, my ass, honestly. But it's something that, I dropped the ball on that one. Wasn't exactly my strongest answer. Kung Fu Panda and all that. Listen, I know Kung Fu kicking ass. I don't know anything else other gestures and kid shows and things like that. I don't do that. So it got me, threw me for a loop, but I bounced back.
That you definitely did. And as I said, you ended up first round 7-6 up. Andrew, did you see anything of note in the first round that stood out to you otherwise than what we've spoken about so far?
I mean, this is a pretty solid first round. I've got to give credit to you, Mr. Knight, but I do want to give some credit to your competitor as well. He also performed pretty well in this round, coming out with 6 points, just a little bit behind you.
That's cute.
I mean, I think the big problem, the big issue maybe that I can see in this first round, and it's nothing against you, John, but I think you really desperately wanted to get that movie release date switch, because if you could, it's not just that 1 point that you get, it's that bonus point where you're sad that you missed out by so little on that perfect round, because 2 more points, that could change the whole third round, that could change the attitude going forward. Was that something that was a disappointment for you, and what are you going to do to make sure that doesn't happen again?
Of course it was. I'm my biggest critic. I'm very competitive. I'm the best there is at what I do. Somebody else says that line, that took it from me. So it was a little disheartening, but I had to strap up my damn boots and keep walking.
Interesting. So we move into round 2, wheel round. And can I just point out, just for the production crew on the FCL, there's a really, really nice touch put in with the red and the green for opponents and spinners' choice now on the digital wheel. I think it really kind of just adds just a little more visual kind of a pop. But
now, Keith, why would you be mentioning spinners and opponent's choice for this round? I'm confused.
I mean, I think it came up in some manner.
Clue.
There you go.
So on last week's show, I pointed out that potentially comic book movies was going to be a strength of yours, Knight, and that Harley was a classics guy, potentially based on the sort of the movies that he's kind of reviewing at the moment. And I wonder, is that where kind of Paul Thomas Anderson came on the wheel in terms of the makeup of the 12 slices? But the question I want to ask Ryan first, before I come to you, Knight, is, Ryan, you're 7-6 up. Do you go first or do you go second?
In my opinion, I would go first. I have a good, a reasonable lead. I want to increase that lead. I want to make my point. I would want to make my opponent sweat. So yeah, I would go first. Put some more points on those itty bitty little boards.
You didn't do that though, Knight, did you?
Damn sure didn't.
That's just it. You're just going to leave it there.
Oh, well, if you want explanations, but listen here. If you got a question, you ask. Don't be scared of that. You let me know. All right? I got you. But listen, I didn't go first. I want to see what that sorry little bag of flapjacks had in him. I want to test him. I want to see what he could do. I threw him a curveball. Luckily, that wheel turned in my favor. So, let's see what you got. Because if you get something nice and a little healthy, it's going to feel oh so good when I come back crawling up behind that ass and socking you right in the mouth. So that's what I did.
Obviously, very gung ho, John. You come at this with a real authority, a real drive. Obviously, when you're in your matches, which, again, with what Ryan was saying, maybe you want to go first. I can see the value of going either way. But the question that I have about this round is: you get spinner, you get opponent's choice, your opponent, you let him go first. That's what comes up. Why do you select Black Cinema specifically off this wheel? Did you have an inside track on your opponent? Had you studied him? Is this something you thought he's going to miss at?
I want to shake his ass up. I want to listen. It was either that or movie release dates. Everyone hates because people thought Scott Mantz was in this match, apparently. So I decided to throw him a curveball. Wanted to see if there's going to be any deep cuts. He might not have known. The basics were kind of out there. Maybe he might get. But if they got a little deep cut, it might route him to force him to do multiple choice. Might throw him off his game a little bit. I wanted to invite him to the cookout, see what he had. And he brought some damn good potato salad, apparently. So it backfired. And wasn't expecting it. He performed a lot better than I thought he did. I'll give him that.
So Harley takes the category on the chin. 7 of 8, goes to multiple choice on the who's the lead of how Stella got her groove back, and ends up 13-7 up. You get your turn, spinner's choice, and without hesitating, comic book movies comes out of your mouth. As I alluded to earlier, I felt it was going to be a strength of yours, so it clearly is. But the one thing that I will say about this round, and you go 8 for 8, is that they were very, very obscure comic book movie films that you were asked about. So I will give you props on the fact that you knew your RIPDs, your Kitchens, and your Time Cops.
Listen, anytime Van Damme is part of any narrative or any question, I'm right there. But when it comes to comic book movies, plain and simple, I'm the master. Nobody's going to beat me at that. Nobody's going to even come close. I know they had Schmoedown and all this other places have this, Geek of the West or whatever the hell kind of stuff they have going on. If they have one, do they have one that's just specifically comic book movies? These days it's all little Frodo ring hoppers and all type of stuff like that. What else do they have? If there's one dedicated, just know nobody will ever beat me, and that title will be mine. Future reference. But sorry, I asked you a question and didn't give you a chance to answer, but that's fine. I'm here. The show will be all right. So yeah, that's my point. I'm the master of comic book films. Nobody will beat me. I'm truly confident in that. And you saw that display.
Mm-hmm. Very impressive display indeed. 8 for 8 bears repeating, because that is a very good second round for you.
Thank you. Now, I want to mention this about this little second round and him and his, black cinema questions. I'm not a man to excuse any downfall that I have. It's all learning. It's all an opportunity. I come back stronger. You're going to regret that I did. But these little easy bake oven, hopscotch little draw 'em out on the board questions he got for this second round was a little alarming to me. Just a little bit. And I'll tell you why. Each little question couldn't be the most detailed, descriptive, giving away anything you possibly could type of question, like Soul Plane. What's a movie starring Kevin Hart and Snoop Dogg with a man who owns an airline with chrome-plated rims spinning and purple planes and this and that? It has the word soul in it, and it happens to have end with plane. What's the movie? So, when you get questions like that, when you're getting your ass kicked, and when you're up against the ropes, like Harley was, and you get fed questions like that, I'm Scott Mance. Listen, I'm not going to excuse it, but I will say that was some bull. Just a little bit. Step it up with the questions. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that was an interesting segue, Knight. So listen, you're still in the lead after round 2. You're up by 2. Ryan, if you're in Knight's position, you're up by 2 going into the third round. What are you thinking? Where's your mindset at?
I would say that, got a little bit of a lead. That's good. But, at the end of the day, try not to underestimate your opponent. Because, for Nick Harley, who claims to be a TV guy, he knows an awful lot about movies. How's that even possible in his field, that he knows more on the other side of the fence than he does his regular side of the fence? That's a bit odd. But lies. Hey, I know it's crazy, isn't it? But Knight, you still got a bit of a lead going into round 3, and that's a good thing. So other than that, yeah, I was a bit surprised about how much Nick Harley. By the way, between the two competitors, there's only one person who really knows how to wear a pair of shades, and that's Jon Knight.
I wasn't going to bring that up, but thank you. That's very true.
Yeah. No, seriously. Out of the two competitors in this matchup, you are the one, Jon Knight, who can wear shades like nobody's business. But Nick Harley, he's trying to be something he may not be. You're trying a little bit too hard there, Nick.
It's inspiring.
But other than that, it's a pretty good league going into round 3. Anything can happen.
That's for damn sure.
Looks like you got a fan in Ryan here, Knight. But let's get into round. He is. Yeah. So listen, let's get into round 3. So Harley levels things up with the 2-pointer on Robin Hood. You counter with your 2-pointer of Coogler's directorial debut being Fruitvale Station. A question, I may add, has been answered by Jeff Snyder twice in the Schmoedown. Harley goes back in the lead with his Ed Harris answer for National Treasure 2's villain, PLD to the fore again with yet another Ed Harris reference. And here, from this point, Knight, Your 3 and your 5, I can only put it down to your old friend in the first round, movie release dates kicking you in the ass again. A Scott 87 action comedy, and the actual movie release dates 5-pointer that you both miss.
Yeah. It's that's when I beat myself up. It was an error. That's why I say I took this defeat by the hands of myself. I would have much rather been TKO'd or have him take me out regardless. That way that W is earned, not given. And it hurts because I missed everything by that much. I made the slight error, miscalculated mistake, I should say, of doubting myself. Each original answer that I had, which was the actual answer, was my first initial one coming out the gate, Beverly Hills. I slipped on the keyword returns. That was my fault. That was the one that got me. That's the one that had me slip up a little bit. Said Beverly Hills Cop. It was 2. Then we move on to Scott Mance and movie release dates. Minute that last word came out of her mouth, 90s, 90, 90, 90, 90 was going through my head. Second guessed because what threw me off was entries in the franchise, no particular ones. So I was trying to deep dive, end up second guessing, saying 89. It was 90. So, with that being said, those are mistakes that won't happen again. Back to the drawing board, and I will see Harley again. And I say this, so far I'm the only competitor that took an L but came out with a W. Because the people saw what Knight was about. The people saw who Knight was. They saw I made a little miscalculated mistake. They know that's not me. I came back, my Knight Army is stronger than ever. People rooting for me in the comments, disappointed, saying how this is just completely outlandish. They know what I'm capable of. They know what I bring, and they know I'm somebody to be feared. It's going to be a problem going forward. You best believe that. So you guys better have your correct panties on, because best believe it's going to get a little crazy, and I hope you're ready. All right.
I mean, this is to me a very, very solid round 3 from both of you. And I got to say, if anybody's looking at you, John, they're overlooking you at this moment saying, hey, he lost his match. He's no big deal. Don't forget, folks, we're talking about 7 points in round 1, only 1 question missed. Perfect in round number 2. And the misses he does get in round number 3, that's his 3 and his 5. These are the hardest questions in the match. They're movie release dates, which is a category we've already mentioned is something you do not want to see on that wheel unless you're very solid, unless you're a Ben Bateman, unless you're a Scott Mance. So, John, I'm looking at this third round and I'm saying to myself, absolutely, you performed well. A couple little slip-ups. Once again, you mentioned the context in those clues. Very important. It happened to you too with that Beverly Hills Cop 2 versus Beverly Hills Cop 1, that one word that returns. So watch out for you in the future. That's not a mistake I think you're going to make twice. And I want to commend you on your performance this match. I will also say, in an attempt to be fair to your opponent, did come away with the victory, did also perform very well in this match. I thought you both had a great match, and I think both of you have some solid stuff in your future, but I think you are going to have that drive, John, that fire underneath you, because that loss, especially a close loss in the third round, I know that's going to eat at you, and you're going to be sitting back, you're going to be doing your studying, you're going to be watching your movies, you're going to be saying, next time, I'm going to change that story. I'm going to make a new name, and that name, Jon Knight, they're going to remember it. That's what I think.
Yeah, so you best believe it's going down. Listen, it's going to be fire down there for damn sure, just like it was the clap. You better believe a storm is coming. I'm going to be training, preparing, going back to my briefings. I'm all here for it. And you'd be a goddamn fool if you overlook me. Listen, some of the greats took an L in their first match. The Outlaw Roca, all these other little freak shows and geeks out there. I don't know. I only know the Roca because he's the more notorious one. He has a rebel side to him. I like it. But this would be the greatest run since him. Believe that. So all you managers out there, what you should have done. Managers, minute you saw this, minute you saw the face, minute you saw the talent, minute you saw just the the ruthlessness of who I am and what I bring. The minute that match was over, win or lose, should have been coming after me. I should have been getting messages. But you know what? The community held me down. The community was there for me. They had my back, win or lose. And that's what I care about. Because I'm coming at you with an army. And you'll see exactly what we can do. And for future reference, night only main events. So Brad, Steph, whoever the hell else, get that right. Got this.
Big words from the Knight, even with a W to his name. But you got a lot of moxie, you got a lot of knowledge, and yeah, there's definitely a place for you, whether it's this league or the big leagues. But I wish you all the best. So let's take a pause. Let's move on to the main event, because that's what it was, the main event.
The main event, which Jon Knight was very erroneously denied a place in, as he just said.
Yes, Andrew. Yes, thank you, Andrew. Who was Kofi Outlaw, not John Roca, the other Outlaw, versus a returning favorite in Devon the Kingsman Stewart. I think we know from Devon's days with the Kingsmen, Inky and the Brain, what you're going to get. You're going to get a lot of energy. You're going to get a lot of character work. Kofi was a bit of an unknown, but he was on the draft board. Ryan, what were you expecting coming into this match?
I got to be honest. I was expecting really not really a whole lot, because I don't really know too much about these players. I mean, obviously Devon Stewart with his history with the Kingsmen, and him being very what's the word I'm looking for? Energetic, very all over the place. He's like a human cartoon from the Warner Brothers, the Tiny Toon Adventures, or the Animaniacs, whatever's going on. So we knew we were going to get that form of energy, and then Kofi Outlaw. Never heard of this competitor before. This was all new to me, but it was interesting to see how he was going to compete against Devon Stewart, who's a little bit of a veteran with the MTS. But then again, anything can happen. It's a new league. Everything's fresh. Anything can happen. Things change. People's personality, maybe people's characters change. So yeah, I was expecting a bit of energy and a bit of craziness, which is what we got.
Big character work from Devon as always, Andrew. Have you got any thoughts on Devon?
Well, obviously, if you've had a chance to check out any of my work, and I don't highly recommend it, I was just okay, you'll know that as a competitor, I was always about the big personality, lots of big talk. I was out there putting myself in everybody's face when I was competing because, hey, I was the best, and they needed to know it. And I see a lot of that in Devon. I would have expected that, having seen his previous work, but I think he has a fatal flaw. I really, really do. He jumps the gun, as I'm sure we'll talk about, on not using his JTEs. He doesn't ask for his repeats. He doesn't take his multiple choices. He's the kind of competitor who will throw an answer out at you off the top of his head and just hope that out of some sheer luck it's right, not take that extra time. And hey, if he's having fun doing it, that's great. But as a competitor, I think it might be a little bit of a flaw. And I think we are going to see that play out as we talk about this match.
Definitely. So let's get into it. Round one ends 6-6, and it's really strange this time because the questions that they miss are the same. So they both missed the director of Into the Woods, which is Rob Marshall, and then Knight, your friend, movie release dates, Sister Act, Dracula, Wayne's World, 1992. Do you know that one by any chance?
Well, now I do, but completely honest with you, if I heard it in the moment, I didn't even watch that match. Minimum was over. I went back to the drawing board. And I had another show to go, to do later on because I'm a grown man. I have things to do, unlike these little ones running around here, tucking on. I was like, oh, I like movies and stuff. Shut up. I got things to do. So I didn't particularly watch that match. I know you had Digitin over here, whatever his name is. He has DID or whatever. He has like 5 other type personalities. I don't know what the hell's going on with him. Sitting and look like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Stupid. I don't know who he is. And the other guy, Outlaw, I don't know. I don't care. I don't even know who won. I don't know what happened. Like I said, I have one job and that's it. But I'm happy to go do the play-by-play with you fellas and get an inside look. And I'll make my comments from there.
Duly noted, Knight. Duly noted. So Ryan, 6-6, and Devon really hams up the Kingsman element of his character. What did you think of that throughout round one?
Yes, I think someone had one too many shots of caffeine. Too much coffee. Maybe they put something in the water that day with Devon Stewart's home residence. I don't know what's going on in that studio. So that was something. But yeah, I think, he let his energy get the best of him, and he's, he's either thinking about it too much or not thinking about it hard enough, because all this energy and him taking his glasses on and off, and then he's writing on paper, and then he's throwing the paper away when he gets something wrong, or he misses a question, should I say. And Kofi's just chilling in his studio respectively, and he's like, okay, I'm writing this down, I got it. So I feel like Kofi's head was more so in this game than I feel Devon Stewart's was, and that's just not just throughout the course of round 1, but going into rounds 2 and 3, which we'll talk about momentarily.
Well, why wait? Let's just get into it. So we come into round 2. Our lovely wheel comes up again, as I alluded to earlier. I do like the new colours. Listen, maybe I'm just easily pleased. I don't know. But in last week's breakdown, no more than when we were talking about Knight and Harley, we talked about what we're going to get from these two. Devon always has been strong in Will Smith. So I feel like as a jumping off point for Will Smith, potentially J-Lo and Fast and Furious might have been his character, his slices on the wheel. For Kofi, I did mention action adventure. I mentioned Oscars. They were on the wheel as well. So listen, I did say if you want the inside track, you come to me. You need to listen to me, guys. I'm going to give you what you need moving forward. And unfortunately, it didn't work out for Mr. Knight this week. But listen, maybe someone else in the future can to listen up and take notes. But Kofi comes in.
Gap. I don't like the way you just said that. You should bring that back a little bit. All right, that was too much tone, too much bass in your voice. All right, to bring it down. All right, don't be accusing that of what it. Listen.
Now let's not fight, boys. Let's not fight here. My co-host, my illustrious co-host Keith, he's just a little sore about the burn you put on us earlier because you called us the Brady Bunch, and then we came back here and figured things out, and it turns out he's Marsha. He's a little sad about it.
Yeah, well, I got my football here waiting for you. See, to relax. All right.
Okay. Again, duly noted, Knight. Duly noted. Anywho, so Kofi spins first, takes action adventure. As we said, potentially a strength, goes 8 for 8. We get an atomic blonde. We get an atomic blonde question. We get a baby driver question. The question I thought was the hardest of the 4 was the Demi Moore G.I. Jane question, but I'll be honest, that's a movie I just don't know. Andrew, was there any kind of big points other than kind of 8 for 8, 4 for 4? We move on.
I mean, it's pretty much this round that Kofi plays is exactly the entire game that Kofi played. Cool, calm, collected. I know this. I'm going to put the answer down. I'm going to finish my business and get on with it. He really was just sitting back, taking it easy, and still an impressive showing. 4 for 4, all 8 points. But no, not a lot to say other than well handled by Kofi.
Ryan, talk to me. So if I'm in the seat and I'm 14-6 down, and I spin, and I'm kind of airy-fairy, kind of, will I take it, will I won't take it, and it lands on animated where I'm kind of in the middle of, do I do what Devon did and just go, yeah, let's just go with it,
I would have spun the wheel again, but it was up to him. It was his choice, and he went with animated, even though he felt a little bit uneven about it. He took it anyway, and I'm thinking, animated's a big, broad category, man. Like, there's a lot of different questions from a lot of different animated films, and there's many other studios out there than just Disney, Pixar, DreamWorks. Like, there's other studios out there. It's just crazy. So yeah, Devon may not have been the best strategy.
Yeah, very broad category. It's odd that he stuck with it, and maybe he's playing up being weak at the category to try to throw his opponent off. I mean, that's a move I could see some competitors making, but he immediately gives up a 2-point steal. So maybe he wasn't, and maybe he should have spun again. That's what I would say.
I can admire confidence, though. I'll give him that. Listen, if you don't know what to step into, but you still go in there, fist balled up and ready, that respects that. You don't always come out on top like you expect. Things don't always work out the way you expect. But you keep running. If you did that, my respect to him. Listen, I know I say a lot of things on here about people because, quite frankly, nobody has my damn respect until they've earned it. I don't know these competitors that well. I saw a brief little second of the beginning of it. Like I said, it was all over the place. But if he's going for confidence, you got a good tick from me.
Wise words from the Knight again. So yeah, he missed the first one, gives up a 2-point steal on the Frozen Anna actress question. Doesn't know Brad Bird's directorial debut, which is The Iron Giant. They both missed that one. He gets a 2-pointer for Will Ferrell's character in the Lego movie, and then knows on multiple choice that Chris Pine played the original Peter Parker in Spider-Verse. So we're coming into the third round. Kofi's up 16-9. He's in that kind of sweet spot where you're above 5. Knight, how would you play that out from there?
If I was going into third with the lead?
Yep. You wouldn't know, though,
what?
because that didn't happen to you this week, did it?
With the lead going into the third? Wow. Let's see. You know what? That's cute. That's real cute. I'm gonna have fun with you, boy. I can't wait to get. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna let that slide because it's on your show. So I'm not gonna dig into you too much. So I'm gonna let it slide for now, but that's one. And that's all you get. So what I would do, keep that confidence strong going to the next round, play your hand. If you feel as if you're not gonna run away with it, if you have a little jitters, test your opponent, ride from there. But keep that confidence even if it doesn't throw it out well like it did for me. But I was damn confident.
Fair enough. So we move into round 3. As I said, Kofi's up 16-9. And it's all up to Devon at this stage, whether he's going to ping it back or not. Hits his 2 with his M. Night Shyamalan question. Hits his 3 with the Halle Berry, first African-American person to win an Oscar. And you're kind of thinking in that moment, okay, 16-14, he's gone boom, boom. You're thinking the momentum's there, potentially the 5-pointer could be hit. And then we get the 5-pointer in the category of Denzel. And there's a lot of context clues. And Knight, all joking aside, I'd actually like to get your view on this, because you've talked about the context element of questions. So we get Denzel, we get John Grisham, we get Denzel as a reporter, we get Julia Roberts, and we get conspiracy. Is that too much for a 5-pointer?
I wouldn't say it's too much. I think that treads a little bit along the waters, for sure. Definitely wasn't as much, reading Rainbow as, Harley's questions were, but it still rode the line a little bit. Like I said, there's definitely opportunities for the writers' room. Kind of peel back a little bit and see, okay, too much, what's that perfect in between? If you give too much, you're automatically downgrading any competitor on the whichever side, or just in general, opportunity, because it's a little bit too much that you're feeding into and a little too much that you're giving. So you want to be careful. So anybody watching this, from a humble approach, which is rare. All right. The best kind of love is the hard love. That's all Knight gives. But just a learning opportunity. So I don't think, in terms of your question, I don't think it was too much.
Fair enough. Andrew?
Yeah, I gotta say, I kind of agree with this. I don't think that you're wrong, Keith, that there were a lot of context clues in here. And for somebody who was close to the film, maybe it's one step too many. But despite its box office results at the time, The Pelican Brief, it was right in a prime movie viewing age for me. I know what that movie is, but it was forgotten about fairly quickly afterwards. And if you're saying Julia Roberts and Conspiracy, there's 2 or 3 other movies that can jump to mind, one in particular. Denzel has been in so many things. He's played a lawyer a number of times. I honestly think this one, maybe it borders on being too much information, but because it's a little more obscure, it's a little bit of an older movie, I think this fits as a 5-pointer, especially compared to the other questions we're seeing in this round. What I really, once again, focus on when I'm watching this was not the difficulty of the question, it's the attitude of the player. What does he do? He doesn't take all the time he can. He does get his repeats in here, some repeats in here, but again, it doesn't seem like he's taking it seriously. Now, maybe you go into round 3 down by more than 5, you were never really going to be in the right mindset. But that's what you have to do when you're competing in a matchup like this, is never give up. Until that last point is in, until that bell rings and you are out of it, you still have a chance, and you got to fight like it. And while I loved his character work, and I can't wait to see him again, I think there needs to be a little more of that deep, drilled down focus on the match itself, on the questions, and a little less on the theatrics for Devon, because otherwise, I think he's going to repeat this result.
Ryan, you got much more to add to that?
Just that Devon really needs to, chill, maybe drink something known as decaf. I hear it's really good for people these days. Drink a lot more decaf. Calm down. Don't worry about what is it called? Removing your glasses and not removing your glasses. Just focus. Do your best to focus on the question, and not so much about, oh, I love this character. I'm going to portray this character, the Kingsman, and maybe I'll get a role in the next Kingsman prequel or sequel or fourquill, whatever. There are like 3 or 4 of those now. Hollywood, what are you doing to me here? The second one wasn't even that good. Why are you doing this? But anyway, yeah, he could have honed in his energy a little bit. Maybe he would have gotten a few more points. But other than that, at the end of the day, it cost him the win, and the win went to Kofi.
Yeah, need to be amped up on Mountain Dew to watch him, apparently. Need to take his ass outside, let him run for an hour, and bring him back.
So Kofi sees it out, TKO victory, 16-14 over Devon. And it's going to be really, really interesting to see who he gets matched up with moving forward in the FCL. And that ends this section in terms of the results of week 3 in the FCL. Ryan, talk to me about some of the news that broke this week.
Yes, sir. Brad Gilmore broke the news that they are going to have their first ever Star Wars match in the FCL. Is going to take place on Tuesday, May the 4th, a.k.a. May the 4th be with you in Star Wars Day. And not only is all the Star Wars films going to be up for grabs, but he also made the statement that the Mandalorian TV series, the streaming series, is going to be up for grabs, and it is going to be fair game during the course of this matchup on Tuesday. May the 4th be with you. It's coming up in just a matter of a few weeks, and that is going to be very exciting to see.
Good addition.
Absolutely. Very exciting stuff coming up next week, Ryan. I cannot wait to see about that Star Wars. John, are you, just quick question, are you competing at all in the Star Wars League? Is this something you're going to have to go back and watch Gina Carano as Cara Dune?
Absolutely not. Listen, I love my Star Wars. I really do. But that's what he's up against. I go up against them, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to get my ass kicked. Not a good look. So I stick to what I'm strong at. I stick to everything else. But Star Wars, they know what's the blaster used by extra number 5 in the background while snow hit their face ever so gently as a droid walked by them. They know that hands down. I don't. So I'm just going to spare myself. Good luck. You're out of my way, so that's good for you. And yeah, good for them. But like I said, bring comic books. Make that a single thing. Then we can talk.
All right, John, that is fantastic. Thank you once again. From me personally to you, thank you for coming on to This Week in the FCL. It's been a wonderful time having you here. And I'm just wondering, is there anywhere that people can follow you? What are you doing online? Are you on YouTube? Are you on Instagram? Are you on Twitter? Tell everybody. Where can they find you?
I am everywhere. So you can find me on YouTube, Night Entertainment. And we have weekly content. Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursday. Every day we have Night's Corner. You can find the Film Cave. Live at Night, all live shows hosted on the channel, as well as your reactions here and there. Pride myself in bringing quality entertainment, original entertainment, so make sure you guys subscribe to content creators, subscribe to this channel, subscribe to mine. Don't be succumb to the norm and what you're used to. Subscribe and support creativity. On all social media, you can find me at Jon Knight _. And before I get out of here, all right, Knight's taking back over. I want to say something, and I want to make sure it's heard loud and clear, because this person has been running their damn mouth like some baby mama I owe child support to. Andrew Fettuccini, Furtado, Delasco, whatever the hell his name is. I saw that little bastard was on your show. He's been running his mouth towards me. You had the nerve to come on and pop onto my live show earlier in the week, run his mouth. We all know at the end of that match, I called him out. Because he's running around here like a goddamn Gerber baby, whining about, oh, I've lost this, that, and a skewed. Shut up. Stick a skewer in your mouth. How about that? Keep it quiet for a little bit. Try that skewer. Getting tired of running your mouth. I'm coming for your ass. I'm going to put a hurting on you so bad you're going to wish that you never entered this league. And I hope you're watching. I know you're watching because you love attention. So I hope you heard. I hope you're ready. Don't run from me. You can't run from the night. So, all right, fellas, sorry about that. Just have to let that out there.
That's all right.
Cute.
Strong words, Mr. Knight. Possibly a future matchup in the FCL, the inaugural This Week in FCL interviewees. That would be a matchup for the ages, and we would definitely have a lot to say about that one. Don't forget to follow John in all those places he just mentioned. And of course, like he said, you can subscribe to us as well at This Week FCL on Twitter. I'm at Calc Andrew. Keith,
I am available on all social platforms at K Kilduff Media. Ryan.
Yes, sir. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5. Also, check out my YouTube channel, Nerd Culture. New videos being posted every week. Also, check out my podcast every Saturday at 12 p.m. EST called And I Quote. Interview a special guest from any and all corners of the nerd universe. It's fantastic. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. And here is what is coming up next week in the FCL. So next week in the FCL, we got 2 more matches coming your way. We got the debuts of Robert Montano going up against Gallagher. And then the main event for that week is going to be Chatabosh versus Vanessa Fitzsimmons. So, Andrew, what do you think about these 2 matchups?
I mean, what can you say other than the OG reactors are back? Original reactors to the Schmoedown, original competitors. They were the first ones to climb that mountain, and now they're doing it all over again, back in the FCL, trying to make their way back up to the Schmoedown. Lots to say about Robert, lots to say about Vanessa. Obviously, if you're a fan of the Schmoedown, you know these names. The real question is, of course, the opponents they're going up against. Once again, the joy of the FCL and the danger for all of us watching is we don't know a lot about some of these competitors, but I'm sure that when we're back with you next week, we're going to have a lot to say about these competitors from our resident expert, Keith. Keith, what are you thinking about these matches?
These 2 are really, really interesting again, no more than everything that's been produced so far. I have Robert as the favourite this week against Andres Gallagher. We know Gallagher from the Schmoedown. He's played 1 match against Adam Collins. He played the play-in in the singles tournament last year, which he lost via TKO 17-9. But there's a couple of kind of points within his performance that you can still break down and kind of create a narrative of. A lot of the questions that he got right were very 2010s heavy. He chose IG in his second round, didn't quite cut the mustard on that one, and that's kind of where he lost the match. So there's kind of a strength and a weakness that Robert can kind of look out for. Robert has always been considered to be the stronger player on Late to the Party, which I don't think is correct. I think Vanessa is very, very good in her own right. But for me, I think there's enough in Robert as a more all-rounded competitor that we've seen against Andres that I think Robert should take the W. But Knight, what are you thinking of these 2?
So here's one I can actually say something pretty good about. Late to the Party, I really like. They're friends of mine. So automatically I'm going and I'm rooting for them. I don't know who the hell Battlestar Galactica and Chatterbox are over here, but I wish them the best. But I'm looking for my people to come up with the victory. The good friends, like I said, wish them the best. I know they're going to kick ass. These other 2, yeah, whatever. Just something for them to play, like cats with yarn. So looking forward to seeing it.
And hey, Ryan, I don't know if this is correct, but I could swear around the offices here at This Week in the FCL, we're always very busy folks, always working on the next big show. But I heard a little rumor that there's something else going on with Late to the Party. Any chance you could fill us in on that?
Absolutely, good sir. I am actually going to be sitting down for an interview with Late to the Party's own Robert and Vanessa. It's going to be a lot of fun. That'll be coming up on our channel in the very near future, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, all this and more is going to be coming your way next week in the FCL.